Hi and welcome everybody. I'm happy to be here with you again. And today we have a special guest zooming in today from Germany. Good friend also already. Short time knowing each other, but already I would say you're a good friend. Today, Andreas Koch. Hi, how are you doing, Andreas?
More than fine, Philip, and pleasure to be with you on the Canary Islands, my beloved place.
Yes, we will talk about this today for sure, your history and also the connection and the part of co-creation. And now this is where we dive into the topic. Today, the topic is tourism, a new vision for and beyond tourism. As we know, also during the current crisis, the tourism sector has suffered like maybe no other in general, the hospitality sector, if you don't just want to say tourism sector. So things were changing maybe already before COVID. Now through COVID, already everything is a bit different. So now obviously we have to think of a new vision, and that's what we're here for. We will have the chance to discuss new aspects, but we will definitely have the chance to point out, the challenges and also point towards solutions. And that's where Andreas will come into place. He has a great experience and he also has a great new project called Tourythm. Today, the first time going public with it. So we're really excited about this. Yes, so let's enjoy the dance today, so to say. So let's look at the agenda real quick, what we're gonna do. So first we'll have the chance to meet Andreas, have some questions, a little bit his story, and then we will go into depth when it comes to the Tourythm, new vision for tourism and beyond project or initiative or organization, co-creation. So this is what we want to find out. I'm also super curious to see all the aspects of it. Then we will have chance to ask questions, debate, and at the end, as you know, we have a couple of calls to actions and information. So now, let's start with the story bit of who's here tonight and who we have the pleasure to deal with today. So Andreas headed the quality and environmental management as well as the product development of and hotel consulting department at TUI Germany for around 13 years. Building on his experience, he co-founded the Touristic Sustainability Initiative and NGO Futuris and represented this initiative as chairman of board for 6 years. Since 2012, he advises as managing director and co-founder of Blue Contact, a GmbH, limited German limited company, hotels, tourist companies, and regions worldwide regarding sustainability, as his dream and belief is that tourism becomes a multiplicator of a better world. He, always together with partners, works with touristic regions like Northern Germany, Lanzarote, Crete, or Mauritius, many now larger tour operators, and meanwhile over 300 hotels. So great experience, I can only say, inspiring. So first question that pops into our mind: what brought you to go from TUI and leaving TUI without blaming anybody? Well, what brought you to say, okay, 13 years of experience, now I'm starting my own thing, if you want to say so. So what brought you to this point and what did you learn from that experience?
Well, thanks a lot for being here with you, Philip. It is really a pleasure, especially when I woke up this morning about talking for the first time publicly about a dream I have in my mind for the last 2 years. To your question, that was an extremely ordinary and interesting time at TUI, I have to say. Building up that network, I was responsible for ISO 14001, so like really working from inside out. But at that time, I realized a lot that hotels around the world would need more support. We were evaluating hotels around the world, but we as a tourism tour operator, we never gave them support. So basically, my dream was to go beyond that and support hotels and destinations around the world with sustainability. And that was the reason why I founded the Blue Contact. Futuris was another story because it was at the same time, basically. Futuris was when I went along the whole world as a tourism representative of TUI, being responsible for sustainability, I met hundreds and tons of people that gave their last heart for this beautiful world. And interestingly, these people never had a lot of money. So I said, why don't we found an NGO in Germany collecting money from our guests, from the tour operators who anyhow merge together in the destinations, collect that money and give it to these NGOs that really seldom have the money. And that was the idea of for tourists. And so I convinced my CEO at TUI to do that together with 7 other people of TUI. So it was not my own vision, but it was a joint vision. And then many other companies joined, and meanwhile, it's the biggest NGO of that kind in Germany. So believe me or not, dreams come true if you work for them.
That sounds good. Sounds good. So yeah, what actually are you doing now at Blue Contact? You just mentioned it a bit. So what are you actually doing there? And before going to the new project, so what's Blue Contact all about?
Well, Blue Contact is all about supporting hotels and destination and tour operators to become sustainable. Since 8 years, we are doing it now, and we cover all the different aspects. So one of us, for example, is an engineer working with hotels to really consult them to become climate neutral, to get for solar energy, to really reduce the energy cost without really minimizing the quality. It's really, that is one part. The other part is management systems like ISO 14001. If a hotel says, well, I want to go for sustainability and I don't know the way. So we build up a vision, we build up a team, targets and measures. So that's the other part. And my part at Blue Contact is to work with destinations. So big projects together with the TUI Care Foundation or for tourists, like on Crete with my partners, local food experts and Maria Valerga, to create sustainable food destination Crete, or the same project on Lanzarote, or with Mauritius, I'm working with really creating a whole sustainable island. So this is my part in Blue Contact. So the different parts, engineering, management systems, and destinations to become more sustainable. That's Blue Contact. Philip, I can't hear you. Unfortunately.
Very interesting. And yeah, you mentioned your special relationship with the Canary Islands. And since we're based in the Canary Islands, tell us a bit about that special relationship and what you feel about the Canary Islands.
Well, look, when we started today about discussing about that topic, I realized every endeavor I was ever starting in my life had its foundation on the Canary Island. It must be some magic, let's say, frequencies going around there. Like for tourists, I talked about for tourists was born on a whale watching boat between Tenerife and La Gomera and La Palma in that triangle. And I was talking to an NGO about how to protect the dolphins and the whales in that area. And then I said, well, these people don't have the money. So there for tourists was born. My first client of Blue Contact was on La Gomera and Tenerife. So basically there Blue Contact was born, and now I'm back with my new baby and the new baby of Blue Contact, and I'm back with you on the Canary Islands. So I don't wonder about that. And when I am on Gran Canaria, where we are now virtually, I'm basically love to sit at the place where the ITC is, where this wind point is, and I like to watch the surfers too. That's my favorite spot when I'm there, drinking a nice coffee there, and cortado mostly, of course, and that's my connection to the Canary Islands. Very deep, honestly.
Very interesting too, and against the common knowledge that there's only solid playa, beach and sunshine, there's actually quite some innovation, and it's now becoming even a destination for so-called digital nomads. Now with remote working, it's quite some boom, if you want to say so. So it's quite interesting how also the tourism model needs to change here in Canary Islands. That's why it's especially interesting we talk about this today, because this problem of solid playa, this just mass tourism and this one specific touristic model already is also seeing its limits. The backpacker generation, for to say, they don't want to go to these hotel complexes and buy all inclusive. They want customized and experiences and all kinds of different things. And now we're talking about sustainability. The newer generations even wanted more. They demand certification. So there's already change going on, and we notice this here too, although you still have boom for the mass tourism on the one hand, but the limits are quite there already. Before COVID, there was already some big discussions about the needs, and many projects about changing tourism models. And you mentioned some also. You mentioned the greed, the carbon farming and ecotourism combination. Very interesting what you mentioned too. So yeah, let's maybe now go to your, like you said, your new baby. Let's see what Tourythm has to offer, and I'm really keen to hear the story about that. So now, please open the stage for Tourythm.
Great, let's do that. And I'm happy to share my screen for that. Is it visible, Philip?
Yes, looks
great.
Good.
Fantastic. So yeah, it's a very special moment for me to share with you the story of tourism, and let me or allow me to guide you through the birth of that new endeavor. And it started here in over tourism, honestly speaking. Like 2 years ago at the ITB, the hot topic was over tourism. Right now, I think we cannot believe that this is true, but if you remember, this was a time, 10 years of digital growth of tourism worldwide, and associated also with a lot of issues. And over tourism would be something that some of the people maybe listening now and some of the people seeing it on Facebook now would love to return to, but at the same time is associated with many challenges as well. Right now, we are here, we are in under tourism, and that's another story to talk about. But I think what is clear is no one wants under tourism, no one wants over tourism. So what is the right balance? And I had this question in my mind when I started last year, when the Corona started and the COVID. So I asked myself basically this question: what can we all learn from this crisis? Because on the one side, over tourism is not the thing that we all want. Under tourism doesn't help at all. But a lot of people felt that they are victims of that. And I see that this is a huge challenge for tourism. But at the same time, I so strongly believe, and I woke up every morning with that kind of feeling that we can learn something out of that. So let me describe what I did then. As I'm a biker, I started with my bike because I had this question in my mind, but I asked myself, if I have the question, who else might have that question in mind? So I started the bike tour through Germany, from South Germany, Füssen, to North Germany, Kiel, 1,400 kilometers. And I talked every day to tourism actors and asked them, what do you feel about this crisis? Is there something to learn about it? Is there something we can rethink tourism about? So this is where I met hell a lot of people. And I just wanted to introduce you to some of them. I talked to Florian, for example, which is on the top there in the vineyards of middle Germany. And they are one of the first farmers that produce ecological wines in Germany. So it was a hell interesting talk for me about regenerative ways of agriculture. I talked to Manfred on the left side there, who is running an Earthship concept, which is the building down there. It's in an eco-village, and eco-villages are places, are laboratories for the future. So this building down there is operated with no energy at all, no water at all. So it's totally the future. And I was entering this building with 36 degrees, and it was really cool inside. I met, in the middle, there is Ulf Heschen, who actually sold more meals in the Corona times than actually before the times, because he made a service, a 5-star service for people to cook at home with his know-how and his ingredients. So very interesting concept. And I met people like that build bikes from wood, like the one there, or Karen Leonard, who actually is running a sleeper row, small little cubes that you can put in the middle of a forest, for example. So I met all these people, and I asked myself, why actually do some people take this crisis as a wing to create something new, and why do other people see themselves as victims of that crisis? I know that tourism is a victim of that crisis, but why are still, even in tourism and in all other branches, there are people who actually do something very different and take it as wave. There's this Chinese proverb saying, some people build walls, other build windmills in this crisis. So I asked me that question, and actually the answer, at least I found, is it's basically an attitude. It's basically an attitude of us all, that actually changes that. It is a reframing of a crisis, and attitude changes things. That's was my first conclusion and learning out of that crisis. The other learning I took from this crisis is, and that was actually a quote from the tourism director of Füssen. If you don't know Germany so well, in Füssen is one of the most famous castles in Germany, Neuschwanstein. And he said, look, Andreas, like, this crisis is only an enlarging of the problems that we already have. It makes problems bigger that already existed before. It's a binocular for all the challenges we already had in this earth before. So, and I don't have to say them all to you. There is still this rich and poor gap, and this crisis will definitely enlarge that gap. There is definitely this challenge of how we use this planet Earth with agriculture, with all the pesticides, with glyphosate. There's still this challenge of plastic. There's still the challenge of climate change. And sometimes I think this crisis is covering all these challenges. Everyone talks about the crisis, but I believe these challenges will hit us even stronger after this crisis. So we have to keep them in mind of that. And so the next learning for me was, basically we reached a kind of limit and the threshold on this planet. Some of you might know the planetary boundaries that we already overloaded. But if you really dive into the crisis, into the zoonosis, like the jump over of a virus from an animal to the humans, you basically will recognize that actually the way we treat animals, and it's not only in China, it's all over the world, the way we treat animals is actually the reason why we have that virus. So it's also about a threshold, a limit that we passed. And the reason of all of that is, and that's my main conclusion, is it's an imbalance. It's an imbalance of a lot of things we are doing on this planet. We are doing a lot of things too much and other things too less. So it's a huge imbalance of what we are doing. But I don't want to bother you with all these big topics of challenges. I want to let you know at least what I feel, that we are all holding the key inside of us. And now I'm talking about my heart. If we all are calm, if we all in nature, if we are not distracted a lot, we basically all know what's the right way forward. We all know what we should do, honestly speaking. And when I spent, and I think I didn't mention that session about my connection to the Canary Islands, when I spent 100 hours alone in the wildness, just with a cover like that and 16 liters of water on El Hierro, I realized what's really, really important to me. I was sitting there down to that tree for 100 hours and really thinking about my life. And one aspect of my life is I always wanted to be part of something that is bigger than myself. And for tourism was such an initiative. And now tourism is a next initiative that is part of Blue Contact with my partners. So basically I was sitting there watching the sky, watching the sun going up and going down, and I had no book, nothing to have, and no iPhone, nothing, and for 100 hours. And I realized what's really important. And I'm telling you that story because I believe that this crisis, Corona, was a time to think for many people. The whole engine of this world stopped and made us all think twice. Some were covering themselves with watching a lot of Netflix or on the web, but some others were really thinking. I don't know how you feel about that time, but I felt I was rethinking a lot of the things I'm doing. And I feel like the things I did on El Hierro was something like a forced stopping for many people and thinking twice. And based on that, I want to share another insight, and that is basically every crisis in this world is a crisis that brings people closer to themselves. This might sound a little bit strange, but ask yourself, in this crisis, at least I felt, for example, on my bike tour, tourism that I'm presenting today is much closer to myself. And a lot of things that I did in the crisis are much closer to myself. And that's why I feel that any crisis is a movement to ourselves to re-question, asking ourselves, why are we really here? What do we really want to do? And tourism is something I really would love to do. So I ask myself, if we all drive our positions, whatever it is, if we all drive our hotels, our destinations, our tour operators, whatever we do, if we all drive them with that intention in our mind that we want to do the best to this based on our natural attitude, on our natural way of thinking, how would we actually drive that kind of organizations? And so keep that question in mind, how you would do that, how you would drive that, and answer this question to me, which was the next question that came up on my bike tour. And later on, why was tourism hit so hard by this crisis? It sounds a little bit strange in the beginning, this question, but if you think about that, my answer to that is any kind of touristic island is like a puzzle of the world. Here you have all the challenges and you have all the beauties of our world. You have the challenges of mobility, you have the challenges of water, you have the challenges of energy, you have all the challenges on a touristic destination. May it be Gran Canaria, may it be La Palma, may it be whatever you are challenged by the challenges of this world. So basically, tourism for me is a world in a nutshell. It's like, it's hit so hard because it's like the puzzle of the world, and the world is hit hard, and so is tourism. And there is one more aspect to it, namely tourism is hugely interconnected. So you have connection throughout the whole world in tourism. May it be your employees, may it be your suppliers, may it be whatever it is, your tourists coming to you. It's a huge interconnectedness. I would say tourism is the most connected branch in the world. And that's for the bad for such a crisis, but it's also for the good. So here is a conclusion for me for tourism. If this crisis was hitting tourism so hard, the opposite must also be true. Tourism can be a new rhythm. Tourism can be a viral inspiration for a better world by creating successful opportunities for all tourism actors. And here I'm mentioning successful opportunities for tourism actors because all the surroundings that we are in now, they change so much that actually any kind of tourism business, any kind of destination can surf on this wave that is coming now. Talking about Generation Z, the new generations expecting different from tourism. Talking about the political framework, for example, of the EU Green Deal. A lot of things influencing what we are doing, and we can surf of that. At the same time, we can create a better world. So this is the two things that tourism talks about. We can create a better world, and we create a success for our destination, for our hotel. And if both come together, we create a rhythm. We dance together for a better world. So the conclusion for me is everything is connected. Like what happens in China happens here and the other way around. So basically, it always starts with you, with each and every one. So it starts with myself. And if you are a hotel, it starts with you. If you are a destination, it starts with you. You influence your region, you influence your guests, you influence your suppliers, you influence the planet. So the same way as this virus was hitting us all, it could be the other way around. And it starts always with ourselves. And here, I would always love to talk about the circle of influence, because I realized in my life, when I'm focusing on all the bad news that I cannot change, my energy goes down. If I'm focusing on all the good things I can change, my circle of influence are growing. So when I founded For Tourists with 700 people, it's now the biggest NGO of that. And I believe that this circle of influence have a huge meaning in our life if we all focus on the things we can change in our responsibility. May it be a hotel, may it be a tour operator, may it be a destination, whatever you are doing, and only focus your energy on that, it will grow, it will grow, it will grow, it will touch upon other circles. And then we have a rhythm to dance, a rhythm to create for this world. So basically, this is the story of For Tourists that we already talked about, Philip, in the beginning. When I watched this whales and talked to an NGO lady that actually was protecting these whales, and I thought, I need to do something about that. And from that thought, it's now the biggest NGO. So it's a circle of influence that we all have. So tourism talks about empowerment. It talks about how to empower all the network of every tourism actor. So it talks about exactly about that circle. It talks about empowering every actor in the tourism to create a better world in their frame, create a better world in their region, and then reach out to their guests, reach out to their suppliers, reach out to the planet. So the heart of tourism is the empowerment of all tourism actors. And based on that, the co-creation of tourism offers in our common future. I consciously say co-creation because my experience in being 20 years in tourism is that tourism is extremely competitive, like region against region, hotel against hotel. But I think if we want to create another rhythm, I would like to invite all of you listening to that to open your hearts and share your know-how, because I try to do that the same way. And only if we openly share, we can co-create, because then everything is on the table to co-create something. So this is the logic: empowerment for me, co-creation, and our common future. This is what tourism talks about. And I've experienced that, for example, in this project on Crete. I talked about this project on Crete. Here you see producers, here you see farmers, here you see hotels, here you see politicians, here you see sponsors, here you see all people on the same stage on the ITB 2019. And I think you can see the spirit of that project. And all were creating a sustainable food destination, Crete, for 5 years, and all were proud about that. And this is what made me feel that tourism can create blueprints for our future world and showcase how future works. So it's about reframing. It's about really rethinking. And if you need some definitions of that, I try to come up with some. For me, we have to reframe the way we see quality, because quality is not only the quality for the tourists, like really the guest satisfaction, all the booking ratings, the complaint ratios. It's a sum of all positive relationships. So the relationships with you and your employees, the relationships with you and your suppliers, relationship with you and your guests, the relationship with you and the residents. So it looks much broader that employees in tourism are not resources, are ambassadors for your hotel, are ambassadors for your region, are ambassadors for tourism. Suppliers are not only suppliers delivering something to you, they are co-creators of authentic experiences. Products are serving guests, locals, and our planet. And last but not least, I said it in the beginning, know-how is openly shared. Like the eco-villages I said to you in the beginning, like the global 10,000 eco-village, they all create solutions for the future, and they all have a database where they share all what they created. And I think this is a way forward. And if tourism could do that, it will be beneficial for any destination, for any hotel, for any touristic destination in the world. And if you need some arguments, like business-wise, because the last 50 minutes I was talking a lot about my heart, about the emotional side, but the arguments are clear for me. We have done now 300 energy efficiency audits with hotels, and the average saving is 30% without going down in quality. So it's cost efficiency, it's local value creation if you're on an island, it's authenticity, it's employer branding, attractive workplace. So if you're running a hotel, one of the big issues is to get good employers, but sustainability and tourism will help you to create an attractive workplace. Because if you are an employee that can work together with a local supplier, like for example, an olive oil producer like on Crete, you are creating part of your product. You feel proud to be part of that. And it facilitates your marketing because it involves guests and makes storytelling for your marketing. So these are the more business logic thinking arguments. So let's finalize this discussion and presentation by what is actually tourism doing. And we are soon launching the website, but we already started some courses. The courses will be for hotels and destinations first, to create this new rhythm, to really be part of that. We already started this destination networks, for example, in Schleswig-Holstein, where we train hotels on producer side and learn what it means. So we are coming together with hotels, and this is sponsored by the government, for example, of Schleswig-Holstein. And meanwhile, every week I'm talking about it. I have events like this, but this is the first time I'm talking about tourism. But of course, I'm talking about what I did in my life for creating that. And to give you just one example how that looks, and this will be a course that starts soon in the next month, I guess in English. That's the first English course of tourism. I gave it the name, The 5 Best Reasons Why Sustainability is a Business Case for Tourism, because I realized not all tourism actors are thinking in that emotional side. So I need a good argument for it. And it's a business case. So this will come up soon. And you see on the right side the content of it. It talks about the global trends and their importance for tourism. So it talks about what is the changing environment and why you need to change or you will be changed. So here I'm presenting the trends, and I let everyone reflect on that trends. What does it mean for my destination? What does it mean for my hotel? The second lesson is about saving energy costs. So it will be an energy quick check for hotels, for example. There we present our best 30 measures, how we actually save energy without minimizing the quality, improve employer branding. There we introduce a train-the-trainer concept, so everyone listening to that course actually as hotel can use that training format to apply it in the hotel directly the next day, because everything is there. So it will be innovative training formats. Lesson 5 is about using your suppliers in your network. Supply chain questionnaire. How can you actually work with suppliers? Lesson 6 is about communication, how you can use sustainability as your successful communication strategy and improve your social media profile. And lesson 7 is very important to me, because I feel like if I'm teaching all that, it won't get forward. So I will include a 2 hours coaching where we look into the hotel, into the destination, and see how we can actually help everyone participating in the course to bring it down to earth, to really not only take it as theory, but bring it down to earth. So this is the story of tourism, and I'm very happy I, for the first time, shared it with you, and it will start soon. And now I'm very welcoming you to that kind of rhythm, and would be happy to get into discussion with you. And thanks so much, Philip, again for this place to really share this, what I had in my mind for the last 2 years.
Yeah, thank you so much, Andreas. Very inspiring. I have lots of questions. I will only mention a couple and then already open it for everybody else to ask you questions. So whoever has a question can already write it in the chat, and we will collect, and I will make the first one, and then people join, and if there's, I will have a couple. So let's start. Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the Crete project now a couple of times, and you mentioned it to being like a blueprint of how a sustainable destination, or how a connection between sustainability and ecotourism, and making also a business case for a new model of tourism. Could you resume in a nutshell what is this Crete project about, and how could it serve maybe other regions to improve their destination management? That's something I would be right interested in.
Yes. Well, I can answer two ways. One is it's about empowerment. The Creed project with my partners was about empowering people. So that is the first answer. The second is what I realized the most is any kind of decision we are taking in any kind of hotel or any kind of tourism actor will have a consequence on the way we treat this earth. Because on the Crete project, I was working with my colleagues, local food experts, Sotiris and Kostas, and I was going on the fields with them. I was looking at farmers, and the farmers told me their challenges, why they use pesticides, why they use glyphosate, why they use fertilizers, and I realized they are not seen. They are the end of the chain, and so we needed to change that to make them heroes again, and to invite farmers that produce the grapes of wines to a 5-star hotel and making a wine tasting with them. Farmers working on the fields for 50 years, they had tears in their eyes because they were for the first time in a 5-star hotel. So it's about balance. It's about empowering producers who are actually the heroes of this world to bring them on stage again. So that was the first learning for me, and which is might be a learning for other people as well. And the second learning was empowerment. If you bring together hotel employees out of a restaurant, the F&B people, like for example in a restaurant serving, together with farmers to co-create tastings, you have the best out of all. The farmers and producers learn the marketing, the professional marketing of such a product that's good for the producers. And most producers, by the way, then build terraces where they can showcase their products. And the other way around, the authenticity of the region was represented in the hotels because the wine tasting and olive oil tasting in the hotels were performed by producers and farmers. So you can't make that more authentic. And the ratings for that kind of tastings were so high. So I would like to say, let's bring the proudness, the heroes of this world, the producers of our products, back to where they belong on the stage of this planet, and actually combine people and creating supporting their region. This is my biggest learning out of that Crete project, and I learned it from Kostas Sotiris and from Maria. So it was not about me. I learned that, I listened a lot, and now I feel that we are going to apply that to many other destinations.
Interesting insights. No, I can absolutely underline what you said, and yeah, the importance of supply. Isn't it also about dignity now, about social justice, completely about that, when especially when we talk about farming? Then in tourism, no, the whole part of co-creation, sometimes we're not even aware of the fact that when you go into a hotel and all this logistics around this whole experience is made up by so many actors. Some are internal, some are external, but in the end it's the whole community, no, that creates either a bad experience in a destination or a good one, no? So this is showing the importance of this interconnectivity, no, that if somebody messes up, so to say, in this whole destination, then it falls back even on people that are not involved in the same company, for example, no?
And think of one aspect. Most hotels come to us, for example, say we want to become sustainable, and then they ask about how to save water, how to reduce the shower, how to do photovoltaic systems. But the impact on the world, if you look from a bird perspective, is 80% in the supply chain and only 20% directly. So the way you decide about a product, this is where the impact is made somewhere else in the world. If you buy like wine from New Zealand, the impact is made there and in the flight. If you buy coffee from Costa Rica, the impact is made there. So as we have only one planet, supply chain is so amazingly and hugely important, and it's underestimated very much in that whole touristic value chain.
Absolutely. And it's funny that you mentioned that. Yesterday I had also a company training, and I mentioned the example of Sonnentor. It's a company in Austria that produce like teas and herbs, and they also come in good certified, and they're like well known in the sustainability area. And it's interesting when you go in the About Us section, they have one section about our farmers, and it's not actually their farmers, but it's their providers. And they have pictures of all the families that provide and showing them respect by that, no, and also transparency and recognition of really the importance of those are not just any farmers I buy some grains of and I exploit them and try to get the maximum profit from them. No, they're part of my family, no, and this is the different change you also mentioned, no, seeing us as a community that we all depend on each other. So there's actually one good question in the chat from Vanessa from Sir Connect. Thanks for the question, Vanessa. What are the main problems, needs, and motivation factors for travel providers, hotels, destinations to engage in sustainability? No? Main problems, needs, and motivation factors.
Main problems, needs, and motivation factors. Well, the problems is hard to describe because the problems is that business as usual is like a very common sense. And often people say if we go for sustainability, we have to pay more, but it's not the case. I try to give you the example of energy audits we are doing in 300 total and saving 30% energy. That's a huge part of the cake. So that is often the answer I'm getting, that it's really business as usual. The needs, I think what we need is good examples. So I always try when I do the trainings, and I think, Philip, you do it the same way. I always try to give theory, but at the same time, I give examples of people who have gone that way. That's why I mentioned Crete today and other good examples, because I think we learn from these good examples that this is not a theory, it's not an utopia, it's a concrete concept that you can really integrate. And the third point I want to mention is often sustainability is seen as a concept. It is like you hire someone, like I was hired as environmental manager at TUI, and now everything is managed by that person. I think that's a wrong way of seeing sustainability. Sustainability should be in every operation. It should be in marketing. It should be in the way we develop products, or in the product development, in the way we train all employees. So it should be in every kind of aspect. And if you have one environmental or sustainability manager, you always say, okay, this is he or she is in charge, but basically we are all in charge. And that's tourism talks about empowering and giving the charge and the responsibility to everyone. I hope I answered your question. Did I miss out anything, Philip, on these 3 points? I think I tackled it.
I think so too. If in any case, if there's more questions, you can always come back to the chat and if you want more clarification, but I think it was quite clear. I have a couple of more questions. Let's see if some of you also have some more. Don't feel shy. Feel free to ask whatever you feel like. One point which you also mentioned before, no, the co-creation. No? So also one question could be now, how can we co-create with you, or how can we co-create in our, you mentioned like inner circles, no? So what could I maybe do respective to co-creation? How can I change my inner circle? Because that was a strong argument, no, in your slides. How can we, what can I do actually in my inner circle? Maybe some advice.
Are you talking about your personal inner circle or of anyone?
Well, I mean, it could be you as a person, no? Or you as a company in the ecosystem you're moving around, no? So in the end, if you want to, from a personal perspective, 1, 2, as a company, organization, or whatever in your community, maybe those 2 levels.
Well, for me, it's quite easy, the question. For example, when you are a hotel, if you're a big hotel, you have 500 suppliers. If you go through supplier by supplier, you will definitely know with whom you would like to co-create something. If you have a beautiful wine supplier and this one is in the region, you would love to create a wine tasting with them if it's a friend. So if you go one by one, you will see where you love to co-create something. When I got to know you, Philip, I want to be very personal in this chat today. I felt that I would love to co-create with you like destination work, where you will be helping people, maybe producers or farmers, on your permaculture background. So I would love to see every competence that we have in a room being added to the whole picture of that. I'm good at some things, I'm good at inspiration, but I'm not good at other things. Like in my Crete project, I had Costa Sotiris managing all the work with the farmers, because they have been working with the farmers for 25 years. They knew regenerative agriculture. Maria, my colleague, was for 20 years working in hotels. She was really good in working with hotel people. I was not really good at that on a day-to-day basis, because then I'm getting nervous of the day-to-day basis. So if we all think about the things we are good at, let's co-create the things that we are good at. And my vision with tourism is, at least any kind of project I'm doing will be co-creation. And just to make you the difference, we are coming from the world of, let's say, competition, where we're fighting against, and this is the origin is Charles Darwin, survival of the fittest.
Yeah.
But actually, cooperation is a new concept, like where we cooperate and we do something, but still we are single people. You know, I give something to you, Philip, and I pay you, and you give something to me. But co-creation is much more. I'm sharing with you a vision that I really want to accomplish with you together. And this is so much more, because one is money, of course, which is fine, but experience to share to make both of you work better in the future is co-creation. So it goes far beyond of cooperation.
Yeah, for me, co-creation also is strong value, and I believe in the end, we've joined forces, it becomes better. Also, competition is harmful, cooperation is beneficial. And I've also seen the benefits of cooperation. Most endeavors I'm doing also is it's more like a flat understanding of how we operate, more like in a network and not in hierarchical structures. And this is also how things change, and even especially in communities and in destinations. Not seeing like the hotels and the others as competitors, but in the end, like we mentioned earlier, if one fails, the whole community gets messed up, whether you're friends or your enemies, but all suffer. And if you start collaborating, like all taking care of the beach, for example, we had the project with surf schools. Now, if the surf schools together say, okay, let's limit all the amount of students we send into the ocean, we increase the quality of the experience, because the beach is not overloaded. There's this capacity problem. You have you saw the pictures, over tourism. That's a great example of how we can create a better experience, a better quality by cooperating, and not trying to maximize our profits. By the way, we maximize the quality, and we can still maybe maintain the profits. But we have a healthier community, we have less fightings, and we have also very interesting co-creation examples here in Canary Islands, although now there's some kind of scandal around what came after this project, but the pilot version is great. It's still working, and it's in Las Canteras Beach in Las Palmas, where the citizens together with the municipality and the main actors, the stakeholders of the beach, they started having like a citizen forum. And the decisions taken there are then taken to the government, and then they make them law. And this is a great project of how they co-create, they co-regulate, they co-participate. It's great, And this is the case also then transferred to other areas. And for me, this is a great example of how a destination has to collaborate and cooperate. And the actors that normally are competitors, they have to sit together because they face common problems, and only together they can solve them. And that's is more than clear in tourism destinations.
There is only one big difference between cooperation and collaboration and co-creation. For co-creation, you can only invite. You can never force co-creation. You can only say, okay, I would love to do that. Who is ready to join? If you're not doing that, you will never co-create, because you will never receive the same people that are likewise. You need the same frequency to co-create. So that's a big difference between cooperation and co-creation. You can only invite to co-creation.
It's like dancing with somebody who doesn't want to dance, or dancing with somebody who wants to dance. Yeah, so that's actually also, well, I have one more question before we then have the closing. So actually, what can we expect now from Tourythm in the next couple of months and years to come? So what is your dream, and what is concrete in the pipeline?
Well, interestingly, it already started. So I have already courses in German that are running with hotels and destination, and I was amazed by the possibility to do those courses digitally. So it works really fine, and the feedback is really good. So I already started this kind of courses with hotels and destinations in Germany, which is fantastic. I already started the network I'm talking about with Northern Germany, Schleswig-Holstein, where we train hotel employees actually on the producer side to learn from each other, which is already working. So my dream, of course, would be, and it's not my dream, it's for tourists, it was the same for me. I felt like the need is to do that. So I felt the need of a new rhythm of tourism. I named it that, but it's not on me to do that. It's really, I would love to create that rhythm. And I saw that with Crete. I'm now doing a project for the last 3 years already on Mauritius, and I see the concept that we are applying there, that this will spread into the world. So my dream would be to invite as many players as possible to co-create this dance of tourism. And I don't care if you name it tourism or if you name it sustainability. Although I have to say, Philip, I think you share it. For me, sustainability is not enough. I'm a little bit bored by that word, because sustain means we have to keep a kind of system, but we need to do even more. We need to regenerate the world and part of it. So this is the next phase for me. So my dream would be that the things I already started, the courses, the work with the destinations, I'm looking for partners that are co-creating this rhythm. It's not about me, it's really about partners, destinations, hotels, whatever, tour operators that say, I would love to create this rhythm, and I would like to go out and inspire my network. Because with any kind of person that we have in this circle, to inspire their network, if you are a hotel, you can inspire your 100 employees, and then from there you inspire others. If you're a hotel, you inspire your 500 suppliers, and from there it goes into the world. So with every hotel, with any destination, it's like a huge network that we can inspire to be change makers for that. And if we all understand that this change making is for the better of this world, my dear, I'm blessed and very proud that I can only give my network into that, and not my ego, my whole network and know-how, and co-create that kind of rhythm for this beautiful planet.
Thank you so much, Andreas. I think that's something I can't top anymore. Let's keep it with that as the final statement. Thank you so much for coming today. Now we have just a couple of last call to actions, and thanks everybody also for being here today and sharing this afternoon with us. And yeah, I'm really glad and looking forward to co-create with you, because I already am really looking forward to that. There's stuff in the pipeline, so you can also stay tuned for what's coming out of this cooperation and co-creation. Yeah, it's both. So thanks again. And just for everybody who's here again, I would always like to invite everybody to join our club from Seeds for Sustainability, which is basically thought for many things. We can meet there, but you have also access to free materials. Basically, the courses you see on the website, all will be as an introductory form soon be available in the club. We start in English and Spanish, but long term they will all be available in 3 languages and German. So not German, English, and Spanish. We will give free coaching monthly for the members. Of course, not unlimited amount to a certain degree. So you can also come in contact with us from there. We also have premium memberships for those that need a little bit more attention and a company for their journey to a more regenerative future. I really like that term much better. And as you know, you got some of you already some discounts for our permaculture design course. If you're still interested, get in contact. Make sure you get the discounts in case you are doing the course. In general, our services here, what we offer now, we have company consultings and in-company trainings, topics like circular economy, permaculture, impact management, corporate social responsibility, carbon footprint, ethical and sustainable marketing, and triple impact project management. That can be all kinds of forms. So thanks everybody, in all kinds of languages that you can imagine. I only know a couple, so I can't pronounce everything, but in any case, also thank you so much, Andreas. Thanks everybody who was here. And yeah, last but not least, for those that attended, make sure you get your certificate, and we see you again next time. Thanks, Andreas. Really looking forward to working with you.
Muchas gracias.
De nada y un placer.
Nos vemos.
Hasta muy pronto.
Hasta muy pronto.
Adiós.
Adiós.